right. Hello and welcome to WDL Radio number 45. We are into week 5 already. This is the week 4 recap and talking about week 5. I am Human Bones as usual. This season, joined by Russ King. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Nice, lovely weather out tonight.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we got to be inside talking about.
Yes, well, I mean, that's been most of our life, so why not one more night? I
Good
guess.
point.
Right? So week 4 featured some really good matchups on a classic map, map 17. And let's take a quick look at where we are in the standings. Give me 1 second here. All right. So, pretty interesting. I'm not sure we've seen this kind of point disparity at this stage of the season before, but we clearly have 3 top teams here and 3 not so top teams, but uh, going through it really quickly, BG the big matchup last week, BG and Plex. BG comes out on top, so they are still undefeated. They remain the only undefeated team this season. Plex coming in at 3-1 so far. We've got Suck also at 3-1, so they are the top 3 teams separated by just 3 points. So I mean, theoretically, right? Any of these 3 teams could end up as the number 1 seed. So BG does not really have it locked up yet. And then rounding out the bottom, we've got the Sexual Panthers 1 win, BNZ 1 win, and LD still looking for their first win this season, but never counting anybody out. So let's talk a little bit about the map. So after we discussed last week, what were your thoughts on the map and how it plays as a classic map in 2025?
Well, I think it's kind of telling how people don't really make maps like that with a bunch of pistol spawns everywhere anymore. It was a 32 and 24 map, so I guess that kind of explains that. But as it played, I think it played pretty much fine. I think if you're a defensive player, then you kind of get screwed over on where you spawn without a weapon, and a lot of that spawning without a weapon or trying to struggle to pick up something or chase somebody or those decisions are what leads to the scramble. I think that the kind of gameplay that it allowed for was what the previous week did as well, except this one did it a little bit more with a little bit more dialed back a bit. You can control it a bit more than last week with or the previous week before. Heavy weapons dudes was way more chaotic, and I think it's sort of the same, cut from the same cloth, except it's a bit, like I said, it's a bit dialed back, so it's not as chaotic, and you can kind of feel like you're having control of your destiny while you're there. Uh, I don't know. I think I could see it being a staple, or not necessarily a staple, but revisited again in Redemption or Vengeance or another WDL season. But I think with that being said, I felt like they're really kind of like week 2. There really wasn't a game of the week or anything really super crazy, you know, um, when it comes to the matchups, because they kind of go as you sort of expect, I guess. There wasn't no third rounder, I guess, is what the way to put it. Whereas, the third round kind of makes things more exciting, like it was with week 3 and then week 1 with BNZ and LD. So it was just straight up like 2 games every time, 0-2 or 2-0.
Yeah.
And you can't really. I mean, I think like LD didn't even practice, and they just showed up to play. And I think Sharp was streaming his own game from the point of view.
Oh,
It's like
interesting. Really?
not giving a fuck. Like, here you go, whatever. But yeah, like
Yeah.
it was an okay week. I think it just didn't have the excitement like it did the week 1 or 3. So
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think the map, it's not, a map, right? Like you said that you would see get made nowadays. And it's interesting because the 32 and 24s, I mean, if anyone's not familiar, here's the original intent and how it used to be was you make 32 maps in 24 hours. So, I mean, this map was designed, I don't know the exact time that it took to make it, but in less than a day. And certainly back when 32 and 24 was really like they would make in like two a year, maybe more. Um, the amount of time that you spent perfecting and perfecting and perfecting wasn't there. So it's not like the 32 and 24 is now, where you might have, an entire month or 2 months really to play test and make changes and do this and do that. Um, so when you look at it from that perspective, one, it's super cool that this map, made it out of that type of project and became a staple. But two, like the pistol spawns and just some of the weapon placement probably was not on the top of the mind of Midian, the mapper who made it. Like he was probably not necessarily thinking that this would get played at the highest levels of Doom competitive CTF. So the fact that it's still around is pretty cool. It's always produced good games. I would say like. Hmm, I would say at this stage of where we are in Doom, like I could probably rattle off 10 more maps that would have been good in place of this. But I don't hate the map. I actually really like the map a lot, and it's tough to play. So, but yeah, I would agree that it didn't really produce like a game of the week, or it didn't really have the same excitement necessarily as the other weeks had. It was just it was just a week of matches, Um, and that's not because I lost, I just, you know, it was sort of a slog to practice.
And I would probably argue. I know we're jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but
Sure.
I'd say this week, the way this map plays is probably the same idea as 17, except more fleshed out.
Mm,
Because you have that whole like uh, the runner gets to work their magic in the base, and then the long travel back, and then you have
yeah.
the real. You can run pretty much very similar strategies that you would run on 17 on this week's map. But
Yeah,
like I
I
said,
mean,
it just shows its age. There's
a little
cajillion
bit.
more maps that have been produced since. What year did that come out? Was that Dash 14 or 15? No,
Uh,
it was way
it was
before that. That
32
was
and
Dash
24 4. This was like
4. Okay,
2008, maybe?
yeah. So I mean,
7? No, wait. Yeah, I think 2008. So,
2008.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
like
even think there's a question of whether it like stands, the test of time or whatever. It definitely does. I just think like we've come so far uh, as a competitive like entity or a league, I guess that um, I'm always like if we had a season, we're finally at a point now where we have regular seasons where there's not a map one, a map eight, or a map four. Uh, love those maps, but like they don't need to be in
I don't.
every regular season. Well, sure. Um,
I mean, they're okay, but I mean, you gotta remember, like Mappa One is just. I think you'd rather play. Was it the Church of Ty than Mappa One? At least there's some kind of
well,
like
see, that's what I
variation.
mean. At this point, like there's this other map that has sort of taken the place of that one as
hmm
uh, and it adds some more like dynamics to the way that teams play. So, but
I mean, it's not they're bad. It's just there's
right,
more evolved options now,
sure.
and I think
Well,
that's the thing you do when you
be
revisit these
that
old
as it
maps.
be that as it may, it was our week in our map in week four, and
Yep,
the games that were played uh, were decisive, but they were good. So if we jump into BG and B and Z, this was 2-0, but the first both rounds really were close, right? Like if you look at it overall, we had BG getting slightly more touches. They had certainly had more P touches, so they had a little bit more communication, or I would say better placement in terms of like a flag runner dropping the flag and someone on their team picking it up. They also edged out B and Z in frags and damage. So by all counts, you would look at it without knowing the score and say, oh, BG probably won, which they did. But if you look at, I mean, the touches, like Disparel getting 30 is pretty nuts. And then also getting, essentially tying Nexus for the most amount of damage. Like, that's actually an interesting part of this map is that the runners will typically get more frags and more damage than the defenders because you're forced as a runner to actually frag here. It's not the case on every map. So um, interesting. And if we break it down in round one, if we look at, so they traded off really in the first couple minutes, getting those first three flags. BG gets two, and BNZ gets one, and then there's a few minutes there where things slow down. BG gets another, and then XWiz brings one in at 9:58. And I think somebody made a comment, maybe it was Ralph, that there was some momentum to be had on BNZ's side, like because I think on a map like this where you have a 4-minute gap there without a flag, like that's pretty rare at this point. You'd expect it to be a very short matches. So I think the idea was that maybe BNZ stopped the bleeding and then was able to score a cap and go into the next round with some momentum. And then round two, uh, maybe a little bit of that. I mean, Disparel gets out with a flag, in 42 seconds, and then BNZ immediately scores two 1 minute after each other. But then 20 seconds later, Disparel scores one, and then Legion scores one. So right now, BNZ is sitting on top 3-2. So whatever they had adjusted from round one was working for a while. But just like BNZ can adjust, so can BG. So if you look at this, I mean, three in a row right there, Disparel in a little under, well, like a minute and a half. They go from 3-2 to winning 5-3. So I mean, you got to give credit to BG for making those adjustments there and coming out like that. But I mean, I don't know. This map is very unforgiving, and you can tell based off of these last two captures. Is it? Whoops, that's fascinating. I accidentally opened up another window. Um, they just had. You could tell that BNZ at this point of the game was out of position because Disparel was able to score two flags in under 30 seconds. So, I don't know if he died in between that time or not, but um, yeah, I mean, what he was doing really well in this game was grabbing the flag and then not necessarily immediately running out of the base, and you can see it on these long capture times, like long in terms of this map. He would grab the flag and maybe wait there. Or he'd grab the flag and maybe go into the little chain gun area, just sort of wait for chaos to happen and then run out. And this is one of those maps where uh, that strategy really works well. So yeah, I don't know. Did you happen to see this game? Did you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was streaming the game, and
Hmm.
when you look at the stats of the first game, the first round, yeah, the big difference was the fragging and the damage. Like that was a big difference because the touches, yeah, they had 9 more touches. I guess that added to it as well, but they were just getting slaughtered for a bit, and then they kind of like put their focus on track. And
Mhm.
after Nexus had scored that third flag for BG, they just kind of grinded it out and defended well. Like you said, 4 minutes without a enemy capture is pretty fucking good. And then they were able to score the last two seconds. It was just kind of like a more morale boost for them. And that I remember Ralph made that comment that momentum shift, and that's what I was kind of hoping for the round two. And they did deliver that because they went up 2-1 within the first 2 minutes, and then they were up 3-2, and then midway, I think they just got the coordination and the unforgiving nature of this map kind of just screwed them over so quickly because you know how it is. Remember, we played too in practice. If somebody gets out and everybody's kind of a mad scramble, oh, I don't have a gun, my SSG turned into a fist. Everybody start running to go get the return because he's already in mid. The runner turns around and everybody's trying to scramble, and if he bypasses everybody chasing him, and somebody sneaks behind, I mean, bam, he got a score. He goes back. Everybody's
Yeah.
still mad scramble, and he goes in, comes out. Like, I mean, you can't really defend like recover from that too well. The only way is to just let him go and just kind
Yeah.
of regroup. And I think they kind of tried to do that, but BG just Despero was able to just get in the last three caps fairly quickly, as you could see the times. 16 seconds, 13 seconds, 11 seconds. That's basically like going in and out almost with a little detour here and there, maybe dancing across mid to avoid shots. So yeah, I was surprised that they kind of like fumbled a little bit and BG gained back that momentum. I was kind of hoping for a third round, but it didn't work out that way. I think it was a fairly close match for the first round and a little bit of the second, and then the BG just kind of shifted in and took over, and there was really nothing B&Z could do. And
Yeah, it was
that's
definitely
the
a
way it
close.
is.
Yeah, I mean, if you, it's hard to really say that it wasn't a close game. I mean, I think if you look at the stats, you would think, yeah, the second round was bad for B and Z, but it really wasn't. We talked a lot about this in practice, where it's just one or two bad series that happen in a row, and that can ruin your whole match on this map. And so, you know, I wouldn't say that B and Z even played badly. They played pretty well. It was just a one or two things happened, and there you go. This is not a forgiving map
Yeah.
for mistakes.
Well, the B&Z also, I mean, sorry, BG also just started really playing like they smelled the blood once those Despero caps started coming in too. And
Yeah,
it's one of those things where you gotta like stick to the game plan and don't let it, get to you. It's one cap, two caps. You can easily do it back, and it's just kind of crazy how you go 435 to 557 like just so quickly. In 2 minutes, the game's over just like
it's
that.
yep. And then you don't know what you're
Yeah,
left
it's stat
staring.
wise they were close too. Like in the second game, there was nothing that they got. There's only like four more touches from BG. Damage is pretty much the same.
Damage actually, B and
Frags,
Z had more damage,
yeah.
more
So
frags.
stat
It was
wise, they didn't. They were pretty
it's
damn close. Just I would
it's
say a
being
series of
making the
unfortunate
right
events.
shots at the right time. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
say that.
I was gonna make this comment during our game because this is how I felt, which was like as soon as the game's over, you're staring at your screen like that was too fast. Like I want to fix what just happened, but you can't. It's over. So
Hmm.
uh, and we can talk about that game now. So our game SXP and Suck. I felt like if we look at so if we look at it overall, obviously where the discrepancy is definitely well, it's everywhere, but I mean the captures, the touches, frags were fairly close, damage fairly close as well, um, and just being in that game, we tried a couple different things, and I think practice was interesting on that map because um, I felt really good about some games and really bad about others, and then I certainly felt stronger about the game going into it than I did during and then afterwards. So if we're looking at round one, started off kind of slow actually, and we started off going up, um, you know, two flags to one here. We did again. It was fairly close for the first half of the game, and then I mean even worse uh, than the last game was this series here to lose four flags in just a minute. I mean, I knew that this was happening as it was happening, and we had a conversation about. Ralph brought up a really good playoff game that also my team played that involved this map oddly, but the breakdown was on the other map where we just scores just happened like this, and I knew this was happening, but I couldn't stop it. I couldn't stop it from. I knew Blair and Zen had this amazing, tandem running thing going on, and as soon as how you just know, if you're trying to return a flag, it was Blair's flag really that set it off. Like I think maybe around that time we got a little aggressive, and then so Zen grabs the flag around here, and I knew like as I'm going to return or try to return that flag, I know Blair's in our base, right? I just know it. Um, and now Blair didn't score that flag, but maybe Zen got a P touch or whatever. But I knew something was happening, and then same with 6 and 7 here. Like I knew this was happening, but you can't stop it, and that's the most frustrating part. Is that's what Ralph's teams do best is they hammer you with touches and they just relentlessly do that. They did a really good job. So to be able to make it so that you can't do anything about it, that's the best part. So making some adjustments for round two, we didn't actually adjust um, the positioning to start. We kept it the same because again I felt like all right, we saw what happened at the end of round one. Like that was insane. Let's try again and see where it gets us. I said, okay, I'll be slightly more aggressive. Okay, just a little bit, a few more touches on my end, and maybe that'll make a difference. Didn't work out that way. Um, and so then I switched Dragon onto D. Um, and it just it didn't work out. But I think there was some sort of internal conversation about why we switched positions. But if you look at it right, at this point in round one, they get 4 in a row. Round two, now we're down. This is 5 in a row, 6 in a row, 7 in a row. And by the time round three comes, the third flag in that round, I'm like, this is not working anymore. We're down now 7 flags. We got to try something. That's something we tried, clearly did not work, and the match ended like that. So maybe I don't know. There's a couple lessons that you can pull from that. Switch faster, maybe switch positions faster. Try something different faster. Maybe Russ should have played. Maybe we don't change anything at all. Don't know. But all I can say is the match obviously did not go in our favor. There were plenty of things I would have tried differently, but it's 5 caps. It's 10 minutes. You don't get that opportunity, and there you go. So I got to give a lot of credit to Suck and especially Ralph. Who people maybe people know now, but Ralph is a very competent, above competent defender. Guy just knows how to play everything. So he'll do whatever it takes to make his team win. And so he played really great shutdown D here. I mean, we didn't score a flag, so got to give it up to Suck. They played a really good match here, and this is their home field. And I think if anybody watches the outcome of this game, they should be afraid to play Suck in the playoffs on this one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like this map tailor made for his kind of play style that Ralph likes to run. Aggressive touches, heavy offense. You can't get that's like you said. That's why he picked it for his home field. So it's a no brainer. Why he'd do that, and it's kind of like an actual sports where you play in somebody's home turf. This is kind of as close as we're going to get to that because this is the map that's going to favor them over maybe us because we don't really play like that. And it's also a generally unforgiving map, regardless of how you play. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they came and they did what they had to do, and this is how it goes on a map like this too. So I mean, I didn't play, so I just watched. So I don't really have anything to comment about. You've already said everything you need to say from the point of view of somebody that's in there.
Yeah.
It's just you never know what could go. Maybe you should have did this, could have done that, but you'll never know now. And we only got 10 minutes, 2 times to figure it out.
Yep.
That's
You'll know.
another game within the game. And I think
We
that's one
tried.
thing that BG does well. Like they know how to do that in
Yeah.
game quickly when it matters. And I think that's another thing that makes him dangerous.
I think it's really important to be able to do that. I
Mm-hmm.
think if you if you have to, you have to be able to adjust and try something different. You have to be able to look at what's happening in front of you and go, okay, what we're doing now is not working. And that's not to say like maybe the next thing that you do doesn't work like also, but um, yeah, BG does it better than anybody, and that's why they're at the top of the leaderboard. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, jumping into the third game, let's see here. We had LD and Plex. I mean, um, probably the quicker game of the season. It was 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. Each round was 3 minutes long here. Um, not too much to say about it. I mean, I thought it was great to see Christian get a capture here in round one. They did a really good job supporting him on that, and scoring on these guys is very difficult on this map. So, I mean, if you're going to hang your hat on something, that was great. And I think everybody was rooting for LD because they were playing against the big bad Plex. But like they have most of the season, Plex is certainly living up to the fact that they are in that second spot in the standings and fighting for a chance to get the first seed. Um, yeah, I mean, did a really great job. They just kind of they rolled, they rolled in round one and round two. So I don't know. You have anything to add on that one?
I didn't actually watch this because I had a phone call and I was kind of
I see.
glancing at Sharp's stream. I mean, they didn't practice. They already phoned it in. There's only so much you can do when
Yeah.
you're 0-3 by week 4, and you already know your playoff chances are zero because you already lost to the potential players the teams
Well,
that you could,
they
right?
were they
Because
weren't zero before this game, but they are zero now.
yeah, but I mean, Flex. I mean, they didn't practice, so I think they kind of just like whatever. I mean, I think they traded out Dosu because he's in Japan right now. Arguably a better decision to go to Japan than stick around for a Doom League.
Yeah, that's true. Um,
Yeah, I would have done the same.
I
So
I booked my trip for after the season, but yeah.
right, but I mean, like I said, it's just there to just kind of give just to finish out the season, gracefully. Don't be like a certain Z person who quits in the middle of the season. We shall not say his name because Ralph's
No, don't
blood
worry.
pressure.
We don't have to say his name on here because tomorrow everybody will say his fucking name in the channel.
Nah, they won't do
Like
it.
he's there.
They won't.
Sure,
Nobody will.
sure,
Nobody. I guarantee
sure.
you. But
Well,
anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's
anyway,
good. They stuck to their commitments. I think personally, if I was in that position, I just would have told the fourth, come play, you know, just go play.
yeah,
But everybody's different, so maybe Ascar isn't even around, so who knows? So it's
maybe not, but it is what it is. I think
mm-hmm.
they're gonna finish up the season here, and unfortunately, they have been eliminated from the playoffs. But Uh, I've been playing a lot, watching Vinny play a lot. The guy's really good. It's great to see Christian, get some playing time as well, and to really, be a big part of his team. And Sharp is always really fun to watch. I mean, Sharp is just a crazy runner. So hopefully, like we all have bad seasons. And I wouldn't even use the word bad, but we all have seasons we wish we could have done better. So I hope that doesn't discourage them from signing up and playing in more things because I mean, how many seasons have I played
I
in?
wouldn't say that
27,
they
28?
they showed up every week to practice,
Oh
for the
yeah,
first
yeah,
three
yeah, yeah.
weeks. I
That's
think
what I'm saying.
it's just more of like not really a bad season. It's just more of like
Bad was the wrong
you
word.
you look you look bad at look back at the drafting and wonder what you could have done differently because that's where it all
I
begins
thought that
with.
when I picked you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could have done better. Yeah, you should
I
have.
could have maybe.
So it's and then you kind of know like maybe it is a disadvantage to run a team where they got everybody who pings over 100 on an American centric server
I
in
don't
league.
know because I feel like, and this will be a larger discussion, okay, but I feel like ping is not terribly. It doesn't matter that much on Otamax. Like, I find that you can be pretty competitive with a 200 ping, and so I don't know. I think
Well,
it's just
maybe it's more of
we
a
have
veteran thing because Christian is like super new to Doom, so you kind of want a third player that's not like that inexperienced.
we had some really
Yeah,
strong teams this season. That's all.
yeah.
I think their matchups were
Well, like I said, they're all veterans. Like everybody else, like
yeah,
if you look at all the rosters, like this is not anybody's first rodeo aside from like a few names like
it's true.
Christian and I can't think of anybody else. It's
It's
a
true.
fourth or something. The Fallen,
Mertz. Yeah,
Mertz,
the Fallen. Yes,
the guy, the floater, the Fallen.
that's right.
Yeah, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think these
Well,
guys will the next league they'll sign up and then
yeah.
we'll see them again. They're not gonna
I
quit
think
like
so
a
too.
certain Z person.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him. Um,
Don't worry, nobody's gonna talk about them.
we are now. Anyway, yeah. So week 4, smashing success. We are now into the final week of the season, and 3 teams have guaranteed themselves a spot in the playoffs. Seeding is still TBD, but BG, Plex, and Suck are in the playoffs. So, what does that mean? That means that BNZ and SXP are playing a play-in game on this map. Ta-da! Towering Gardens, which I have to say, I'm very much enjoying practicing this map. Um, to me, it I think we have a tendency as leagues now to choose maps that are advantageous for runners. I think people love the idea of just. I get it. It's capture the flag, right? But it shouldn't be super easy. It should be, uh, not all the time, certainly. So I like to see, although this is a newer map, I think it is designed much like a classic map would have been designed. It is, certainly frag heavy. You got to do a little bit more work than you'd think to get a flag out, or at least in terms of, say, I don't know, last week's map, right? It's a nice transition from last week because you feel like it's a bit more teamwork driven. I think you got to be in the right place as a mid and a D to really lock down the map to allow runner to get in. So, there's certainly some tricks that people are pulling off in practice. There's some rocket jumps. There's stuff going on, but for the most part, like, you gotta be able to. You can't get into a situation where you have a flag standoff because, I mean, how long does it take to get across the map? Like 8 to 10 seconds. I mean, and that's if you don't run into anyone on your way there. So it's really not like a map 17 where it's going to take you 3 seconds to get across the map. Maybe you can avoid people because they're going just as fast on the other side. This one, it's just different. The mid is quite wide open and you can see everything depending on how much you're paying attention. So I've been enjoying this map. I think it plays some really really good matches. I don't know. What have been your thoughts? Because you've never played this map competitively before this week. You've only seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's pretty good. I think it's kind of funny how you say newer map is fucking at least over a decade old.
Is it really a decade old?
Yes, because I actually looked it up. The core CTF pack was in 2015, and I'm pretty sure this was like a year or two before that. If
Huh.
not, it's definitely 10 years. So
Fascinating.
yeah, I mean compared to like 17, but Buntalufficus, yeah, it's newer, but yeah, there's some things that annoy me, like the stupid trees, especially when people drop flags around there, and Ultimax is online collision with that shit. So obnoxious. But I think I do like the way the runners have the options to work how they work, and you see some crazy rocket jumps and some silly hiding and tricks here and there that you won't really see on other maps, like Map 01.
But
So
could you imagine if the trees weren't there? How easy it would be to run across that map.
I mean, it's pretty easy to run across already.
I know,
You
but
try
like,
shooting
let's say
somebody with a shotgun, and
this tree
nothing
right
hits them,
here that we're
right?
looking at. This tree.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I get
You
why they did
get
that.
banged into it by a teammate or whatever. It automatically like
Hmm.
it's if it's already easy, then we should be fine with the trees because that's going to help. It creates a bit more work for someone to have to do.
I mean, could you
So
imagine if they
that's
were
why
just
I like the
if
trees.
it was like a pillar? It accomplishes the same thing. a certain the same radius as a tree.
You mean like a closed off room sort of thing,
No, like
or
a pit.
is
Well,
it?
you could no, that's a bit too much, but like a pit, it's the same idea. It's just a sprite. That's all it is. It's just bumping into it because it's not geometry. It's another like object. It's different
Well,
online. That's depending on who
yeah,
you run
you know,
into.
it happens.
Yeah, but
At
other than
least
that,
the
like
trees are visible,
that
unlike
was
the
Z
other
Demon.
map. Yes. Um,
Oh, imagine that if it was.
yeah.
uh,
So,
what was what
yeah,
was that map
I
again?
that was ZDU map 10. Yeah, I know it was map 10 in the IDL
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
But I don't know if it was map 10 in ZDU. But yeah, it was the most electrifying trees in Doom Entertainment. So
yeah. I
we have a
mean,
contender for that, maybe. I don't know.
I think in terms of we go to the maps this. I mean, I think it's better than Grayscale, and I've enjoyed it more than Heavy Weapons, dude. So take that what you will.
Yeah, I
And
actually think, and maybe this is just the fact that I really like this map. Like this week of practice and this week of playing this map has been my favorite so far. I think it always produces good games, and the amount of times that, like, okay, compare it with map 17, right? Let's say a flag gets out and you're spawning back in your base, and it's like you start to go chase it, but then you realize how far away you are and how long it's going to take you to get there, that you're like, fuck it, they scored, let me go back and defend. On this map, you can literally, you're never out of it. Like, how many flags get returned on the fucking flag stand on this map? And that's going to happen in every game, and it creates scenarios where I mean, you think someone's going to score and they don't, and it's like it could be the deciding flag, or whatever, right? I think it just produces really good games. That's why I like it.
you're also gonna see like even if they get out to bid, that flag can be dropped like 3 or 4 times, and they can still score
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
not a guarantee. Like
it's
you
true.
could also lose it. You know, even if you pick it up like twice or 3 times,
Yes,
the defenders can still recover. You can't get that. None of that happens in like 17.
yeah. No,
And you'll
it's really fun. I
yeah.
like it. And if we want to jump into talking about the matchups, I mean, I think we'll talk about ours last, just because. But let's see here. We've got probably this will be a really fun game. Actually, it's Plex versus Suck. We've been practicing quite a bit today, at least against Plex. And we practice against Suck. So we kind of have, at least I have some idea of what both teams are going to do. And in knowing that, I think it's going to be a really good matchup. Um, I think, and not it's hard now to talk about it because we've practiced against both teams, so I don't want to talk about strategies or anything. But I think it's going to be dependent really on the defenders of both teams. Like, we know what their offenses can do, and we know the frag power of Plex, and we know the touch ability of Suck. So it's really going to come down to how these defenders play, where they position themselves, how good their communication is, because both of these teams are super heavy on the touches and the communication. So yeah, I really honestly cannot pick like a winner of this. Like, um, they're so close in the standings too, that this is going to determine which of these two teams. Like, right now it's Plex and then Suck, but if Suck wins, they're going to come over. Um, so it's a big game for both teams. This is the difference between starting off a playoff game on your home field map or not. So it's a really important game for them. Hmm.
Yeah, I
I'll
think
let you comment,
they're yeah,
because
like
I think,
Suck is going to come to play hard, and Plex is going to also come to play hard too. So I see them both doing the same strategy because I think both their teams are capable. I mean, we practice against Plex and Suck, so we kind of know how they are going to approach this map. I think it's pretty much going to be a really, I wouldn't say a close game, but it probably won't look like that way in terms of flags, but I think it's going to play out that way because I think the difference is going to be who capitalizes on scrambles or wrong minor decisions when these two teams go at it. I know Plex is going to come bring it with the frag power, and Sucks is going to have to match it and stick to their game plan. It's super important too because, like you said, it's difference between our first game is on Buntalufficus, our home field, or fucking Map '08, right? Like I practice like 10 hours a day to avoid having to play Map '08 as a fucking home field in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah. It's
If
certainly
I
not
was
map like the first map. Like shit, man.
right.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's what's on the line. Who gets that home field advantage? Because I
yeah.
mean,
And
they're
if you
very likely going to face each other as a two
right,
and three seed.
exactly. If you think about it, if we go based on how the season's gone so far, BG is playing LD, so like BG's probably going to finish with the first seed, barring um, something chaotic happening. So, yeah, these two teams are going to face each other in the playoffs most likely. So yeah, it's going to determine their
I don't
map
think
order.
even if BG phoned it in and just like played their fourth in the free agent or something, like they'd still get first seed because they beat Plex and Suck, right? They already.
They did, but here's the thing: it's dependent on points, right? So they have 15 points. If
Oh
Suck
yeah, the
wins,
points.
yeah, if Suck wins in
Uh,
two and BG loses in two,
so they still
Suck
need to get
gets
some
first.
points, right? So I guess
Yeah,
so.
it's not a statistical lock. It's
Right.
just a
Very
theoretical
low. It's
likely.
not zero, but it's less than one.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think. Hmm,
And they're trying to think of a winner.
yeah,
I
trying to think.
guarantee you what people are probably thinking. They're probably going to bet on Plex.
I think they're going to bet on Plex, but just like in week 3, when everyone bet on B and Z over Suck, um, do not count Suck out. They have an amazing ability to adjust to what's happening to them. I think my worry is that the frag power of Poto and Ninja Dog is just on this map going to be too much because it's so wide open, right? So it's really hard. Ninja Dog's going to play his thing, his game, um, and this is the perfect map for that. So I think it's going to be really hard to counter it. So that's what's making me lean a little bit more towards Plex. So if I had to give a prediction, I guess I would say Plex in 3, because I think it's going to go 3 rounds for sure.
Mm, I can see it going 3 rounds. I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think the first match is going to be close, like by one flag, and then the second match is probably not going to be as close by one flag. I don't see it going as three. Uh, I think it'll be done in two, but it's going to be exciting nonetheless. It's not going to be like a 6 minute match. It's probably going to go 10 minutes both ways, and
Fair
yeah.
enough. Fair enough. So the next one is BG and LD. I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but um, you know, I think BG's got this one. Um, it would be great. I haven't seen LD practice. They could have. I
Nah,
think
I don't.
Vinny is actually a really great defender on this map. So, if he's able to play like he's been able to play in practice, LD has at least a shot at making the game interesting. But like, if you don't practice, then it's hard to really say because you just don't have that. You know, um, you don't have that chemistry built together on this map. So my heart wants LD to win, but I think BG is going to take this one and two.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, LD hasn't practiced. I think BG has a few times. I mean, they're probably just taking it easy uh, for this
Yeah,
week. They still want to win. I mean, like you said, the points do matter. So whether it goes 3 rounds or two, I think they're gonna want to win regardless, and to get that perfect 5-0 season.
yeah,
LD, I mean, Vinny's been playing well as a defender here, like in practice, but I mean,
I'm playing really
uh,
well. as a
Yeah,
defender.
a lockdown defender is good, but it does you no good if your offense isn't coordinated and isn't bringing flags home. So, I mean, he could play lights out like we've never seen, but if the other members of the team ain't doing their, pulling their weight, it's not going to be for any good. Just somebody with
Well,
their little frag highlights.
I think Sharp can make some interesting things happen for sure, and especially because as we've seen on this map in practice, there's the rocket jumping that um, through that window, and it makes things super interesting. So I mean, if anyone in this game can do it, it's Sharp. But on the other end, you've got Sparrow who can do that just as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, based on the amount of time that Sparrow has spent practicing, and even Shane, I think Nex has practiced a couple times as well. Like, you know, sorry, but games are won, in practice. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, I think the best case is just them just be able to be competitive.
Yeah.
Go out fighting. Don't just
Yep.
like lay over like a certain Z member would.
Yes.
Zed for our
Yes.
Canadian Europeans.
Yes. Okay. Well, probably everyone's game of the week is our game, SXP and BNC, just because it's a playing game. Whoever wins makes it to the playoffs. If there's a tie, SXP gets into the playoffs because we have a point over them. But so for us, it's tie or win. For BNZ, it's win. So that certainly puts. I mean, it puts pressure on both teams, right? Like, uh, it's all season long we've played together, and if you can't win this game and get into the playoffs, then um, you didn't deserve it, honestly. And I would say that if it was me who lost, or another team that lost, I think it's going to be a really good game. It's going to be a close game. I think we're all. This is the veteran game, right? So we're all quite familiar with each other and how we play, and so it's just going to be a matter of who's more prepared and what are the scenarios that happen, throughout the game, as B and Z calls for practice. I'm excited. I'm excited to play. It's a high stakes game. I like that. I feel like we got a good shot this week. So yeah, that's all I can really say.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me going into it, the worst case scenario is tying. So you gotta go. I'm going in with the idea that we gotta win decisively, but
I
it's
win.
not going to be easy, right? You know these guys; they've been around forever too.
Yep.
So we just gotta play how we've been playing and do what we need to do, and they're going to do the same. So
Yep. It's exciting. It's fun. Uh,
yeah, too
I
bad
like
there's nobody to
having.
cast it.
It's true. It's true. Well, maybe
I mean,
somebody will come
I could do what
cast it.
Sharp did and just like cast it if I play or something, like point of view, and you
You
could hear
could.
us screaming at each other. And
I would prefer that you didn't do that, just because I feel like it might affect how you play. But if you felt like streaming, then
I
go
mean,
for it.
I can
Nothing
give you
nothing bad happens when people stream my teams on YouTube.
right. I mean, there's no soul sphere, right? Or is it the megasphere? So we're good, right?
There is not. There is not.
Shouldn't be any
There isn't.
controversy.
There is a green armor. So
Yeah, the defender just grabs that like 90% of the time.
it's every 30 seconds, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, who knows? Who knows what might happen? But I'm excited for it. It's week 5. It's been a really good season. I'm glad that we did this. I'm excited for the playoffs. Not necessarily for map 8, but whatever. It's all fine. It'll be fun to watch. Yeah. Any closing words as we wrap this up and head into week 5? Oh, I'll tell us the game times actually.
they're also the triple header, right? Like really
It is
right
a
after.
triple header.
Yeah,
It is a triple header. So starting at it's in my own time zone. Starting at 2 p.m., our game is first, 2 p.m. Pacific. Then we've got LD and BG at 3 p.m. Pacific, and Plex and Suck at 4 p.m. Pacific. Nope, those are all in Eastern time. I just kept saying Pacific.
yeah. It's 2 to
2,
4.
3, 4
Yeah,
Eastern.
Eastern time.
Sorry. Yeah, so that's it.
So that means this
We'll see what
Sunday night,
happens.
everybody's gonna be getting ready for the playoffs, and
It's
we're
true.
gonna see who's gonna get home field, who's gonna be in. You know,
Yeah, actually, we should. Shit, man. Well, at the end of next week, we'll talk about the home field maps. Um,
yeah,
because we'll have to
the home
preview
field.
the
Yeah,
playoffs. But
we'll bring it up for the home field, like
yeah,
the what the captains chose.
yeah,
So
super exciting.
yeah,
All right, see everybody next week.
yay!